All right. Time to read some more of your comments. Let's check this out here. Let's go here for the Uncle Howdy's heartbeat heard in the arena video. Howard's first show. This is from Grow Up Greg. Howard's first show was on Sirius was 1906. I think I said 1902 or '05 in that video. I'm not sure, but I knew it was on 19, which is my birthday. Um, Soul Slayer Gamer 2318 says that was his steps, not a heartbeat. Don't destroy the mystery of that character. Okay, how is me saying that I hear a heartbeat, which I do when I hear that song being played in the arena, I hear more of a heartbeat than I do footsteps. But how is that destroy? Even if it is a heartbeat or if it's footsteps, either one, how is that destroying the mystery of the character? Um, John Lammy 275 says it's Uncle Howdy's footsteps. I've seen a few people do videos on this. It's footsteps, meaning that he's coming. Okay, I still think it's a heartbeat, but anyway. Um, from the Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez fight over Tony Storm's role in AEW. Sandman 1998. Dave is on payroll. Got to put his company over. Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily on the payroll, but I do think that he's afraid to lose friends, and he's gotten what he's always wanted: best friends inside the business. Um, and he's afraid to lose that. That's why he won't flat out say, "Hey, the booking is terrible." Until he comes out and says Tony Khan does not need to be booking this show any longer, then he's completely biased and he's never ever going to do that. But whatever. Lucy Moody 4927 says people don't want to boo Tony Storm because she's one of the few consistently entertaining segments on the show. Um, she is entertaining, but if people aren't going to boo her, they need to make her a babyface, and they need to book her against heels. Andrew Williams 4644 on that same was replying to that, and he says, "I'm not a big AEW fan. I think it's a highly inconsistent, illogical show. I only now watch it in clips. Tony Storm's clips are really funny, though." Um, yeah, I'll agree with that. It's an interesting character. You can't flip flop it every week though. On the Tony Khan doesn't want his employees watching WWE shows video, Michael Breen 7865 says petty. Yes, I will say that it is petty of Tony Khan to be doing that. On the Wrestling Soup missed one thing with their Tony Khan documentary. Chris Erickson 1624 says they don't go to the drugs or mental health of Tony because it's a critique on his job and not okay. I'm going to read this because is a critique on his job has the owner of AEW, not a person. It actually makes sense. It actually makes their video stronger not to go there. I disagree because his mental health and his state of mind influence his booking. As would, if you're on cocaine and you have poor mental health, it's going to affect your work. It just does. Big Tom Browski says he's a product of cousin marriages. Don't know if you're talking about me or Tony. I'll say you're talking about Tony there. Super Cam ME3MJ says Tony Khan is the modern day Herb Abrams, coked up in booking. Let's hope he's not found dead covered in Vaseline and cocaine. Seriously though, his head he needs to be examined. I agree. Craig Davis 5818 says, I need to see more of these things. Did you say Billy Body? Body spell, I believe he's of Indian descent. He's one of those, I think it's Bhatti is how you spell his name. Just look up lock betting on YouTube and you'll find his work there. He does report a lot of the things before anybody else does. Um, I will say that his thanking of Americans is kind of antiquated because he thinks that all American wrestling fans are a bunch of drunk hillbillies. But then again, I think all British wrestling fans tend to be annoying soccer chanting nursery rhyming idiots. So there you go. On the Meltzer as a hypocrite who bashes the wrestling media, Sodium says, "God damn, he's scary looking." Yeah, he is. Uh, oh man, this one's hard to pronounce. Marion6443 says, Meltzer is only harping on the Vince thing because he doesn't want people to forget that he doesn't work there anymore. But that's the only way to make AEW matter. But Vince is gone. End of the story. They don't need to mention him. If you care about Vince, go talk to him. WWE is Vince free. Talk about the show and ask about the storylines. That is why you were there. I totally agree with that. But because Meltzer has tied his boat to AEW, he has to bring up Vince to sling mud at WWE so people forget about the broken promises of Tony Khan and how terribly the show is booked. Absolutely. Yeah, people tend to forget Tony Khan has had so many broken promises. What about those guys from Korea who they said Cirque du Soleil meets wrestling, and they had one match. It was poorly received, and we've never seen them again. Remember that? But it all does. But all it does is bring down AEW and WWE. However, WWE at least has a watchable show that people are enjoying at the moment. Meltzer needs to stop talking about WWE and just touch himself to Osprey and Omega like he normally does. Amen. Um, Sky Blue is not totally innocent, but AEW fans are still creeps. Ocean-born Angel comments, when you do certain things, you are going to attract a certain type of creepy people. Yep. One of AEW's parent companies sponsors a match during WWE television. Um, Dark Shark says, Max obviously has no reason to care, so their contracts must not have any clause preventing this. On the Dave Meltzer is a hypocrite who bashes the wrestling media, Visual Tedium says, good stuff. Thank you. You're welcome. AEW fans are creeps, but you can't have it both ways. R Cancel 76 says AEW isn't for kids, but the former owner of WWE is in court for sex trafficking. Former owner of WWE. Former. Again, he's gone. They got rid of him for that reason. On the one of AEW's parent company sponsors a match, Lion Claw says, yeah, they want to promote it on a show people actually watch. Wild. Also, WBD is not a parent company of AEW since AEW is owned by one person. You're wrong, because WBD does have an ownership stake in AEW. Tony Khan was flat out asked about this in one of the press conferences, and rather than saying no, they don't own anything, he said, "I'm his typical answer. I'm not going to comment." Well, if they did not own a piece of the company, uh, it leads me to believe he would have just came out and said no. AEW can't tell long-term storylines. Jeremiah Rickson says Jack Perry and the Bucks can't be taken seriously. You're absolutely right. AEW fans are creeps, but you can't have it both ways. Marv J8255 says, what did he say? The fan, I mean. From what I heard, he kept saying something about come to daddy, come over here and see daddy, something like that. Wise now on the same video says 100% agreed. Thank you. Sky Blue is not totally innocent, but AEW fans are still creeps. Crack Rat, I love your name. Crack Rat 6166. It has a picture of Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame Disney movie as his avatar there. OnlyFans detected, opinions rejected. Yep, that's right. AEW fans are creeps, but you can't have both ways. Truth Detector 4036 says, I get the point you're trying to make, but it sounds like you're generalizing to make it. That doesn't represent all AEW fans. Yes, it does. I'll say about 90% of them. Sky Blue is not totally innocent, but AEW fans are still creeps. Lost Little Bro de Carnage says, whatever she does with her life does not give the right for someone to verbally harass her. I never said it did, but you are inviting that kind of behavior to be directed towards you. Again, not saying it's right, but what do you expect? You can't go out there and go, you must respect me and my body and my work and blah, 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 and then turn around and go, but check out my OnlyFans for hot, sexy pics. It doesn't work that way. Can't do it. Wyatt6661 says you present yourself a certain way, people are going to look at you a certain way. Also, doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want to someone. Exactly. One of AEW's parent companies sponsors a match. Ice Manazu says, "Good job, man. Thank you. I'm sorry if I butchered your name." Sky Blue is not totally innocent, but AEW fans are still creeps. Maureen Gilroy says the comments towards her were quite sexual in nature. Some of the people that were sitting close to the situation shared some of the comments on Reddit. The creeper was referring to himself as daddy in a very sexual manner. It was gross. All this in front of the child he had with him. Real Father of the Year material. I agree 100%. Dude's an idiot. AEW fans are creeps, but you can't have it both ways. The Curiosity Hub. Bro Loki has the same worldview as the heckler and makes all the same arguments the heckler would make, but can't resist calling AEW fans creeps. The heckler should never have made those comments in the first place. But again, these are the kind of idiots that you're going to draw towards you when you go, hey, check out my Patreon or check out my OnlyFans. You're putting yourself out there for it. 99 Bananas 25 says, let's not lump all fans into one group. The fan that did this to Sky Blue is the only one that's disgusting. Yes, unfortunately, there are many more of them. Not all fans are creepy, or not all fans are this creepy and gross. To which David Combs, I have no idea. He says, agreed, can't say all fans are like this. I'm not saying all wrestling fans are like that, but I'll go ahead and revise my statement and say about 90% of the AEW fans are just idiots. I'm sorry, you are. If you don't like it, unsubscribe and never watch me again. Mikey T Bar says, wasn't she already in AEW? Yes, she was, if you're referring to Sky Blue. Jarl Stobhold says, keep your anger down. All AEW fans, come one. Okay. I think he meant to say come on there. But yes, most of them. 90% of them. AEW can't tell long-term storylines. CPT Sponko 32 says Okada should just stay silent. I agree. AEW fans are creeps, but you can't have it both ways. LPJ Manga says if this was on X, bro, they would hound on you. Someone said something similar or expressed their take about Sky Blue. Oh my God, wrestlers went ham on him. But when they dress like this and post photos on their socials using sex appeal, it doesn't make it any easier. But the fan who bought his child shouldn't have done that. I agree. What I notice with AEW fans is even company does bad or give facts, they start throwing shade and can't accept it. Grow up. Um, AEW can't tell long term stories. Barricade 1391 says I'd class Seth Rollins as the Tony Stark death of WrestleMania 40. Exactly. If he comes back as the same Elton John meets the Joker character, then it was for nothing. Show Cedric says Elite 2.0 storyline is capable of much more. It should turn the upside down. It should turn upside down the entire roster. Yeah, but they're not doing it, and they're already blowing it off. Oh God, here's one. Here's one that got me. Beauty Drager, you need to travel back to the Divas era if this is how you actively think. No, if women want respect and want to be treated as proper wrestlers, then they need to act as proper wrestlers. I'm sorry, but Bret Hart called out Shawn Michaels for doing Playgirl back in the day. So what's wrong with sitting there going, hey, why are you having an OnlyFans, but yet you want the respect and you don't want people to look at your body and make comments about your body and all this? J Black 530 says in reply to that, actually the Divas era was relatively tame compared to this one. Besides the lingerie matches and Playboy skits, women in the Divas era didn't have ring gear like women today. Look at Trish Stratus ring gear compared to the women today. Hell, women today are just being sexualized in matches just like lingerie matches. A handful of women wouldn't have gotten the push in the Divas era that they have today, and it's mainly because of their assets. He's right. He's right. AEW fans are crucial, but you can't have it both ways. Not William 32 says, really sounds like AEW fan base is the Weinstein of wrestling. Khan has to fix his house. It has created a toxic culture. Mikey T-Bar replies to that. You can't say things like that if you're not in the locker room. Sure you can. I feel where you're coming from, though. But nowadays just seems like you can't say anything because someone is going to have an issue. And if you don't say anything, you automatically at fault as well. Weird world we live in. But this dude is right. Kids shouldn't have been there, period. They shouldn't be. They should be watching the New York Rangers on the road to winning the Stanley Cup. LOL. Um, Captain Thicknick says he couldn't fix me my favorite mixed drink. Okay. AEW can't tell long-term storylines. Fanopolis says every Anarchy in the arena match has involved Bryan Danielson. One of each of the Anarchy arena match, Brady Kingston and the Bucks. Glad they're doing a fresh new combination this year for this year's garbage brawl. That's exactly what it will be. And I think we're going to stop there for today. I think I've answered a lot of your comments. Keep leaving comments. Keep hitting those like buttons. Tell your friends to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you down the road.